Okay, now today's lesson will be identifying main ideas in conversation. I think we talked about this before. We said that there are two listening strategies. Number one is the top-down approach, listening strategies, and the other one is the bottom-up. So, top-down approach, okay, when you are listening for the main idea. And the bottom-up listening strategies, so when you are listening for the details. So today our main focus will be on identifying the main idea of a conversation. Now, before we start this, so here we have some statements, and these are facts or opinions. So who would like to read number one? A.
I will read.
Yes, go ahead.
University education should be free.
Okay, now university education should be free. Now, this is a statement. Now, is this an opinion or a fact?
Opinion.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay. Now, can we call this an argument? If you say university education should be free, is this an argument?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, why do you think it is an argument? Why?
Because opinion, one side. But what
Yeah.
about the other side?
Okay, it's an opinion. Okay, we agreed on this. But is it an argument?
I think no, because only one side.
Only one side. Now, it's not an argument because an argument should have two things. Now, this is what we call the
Yeah.
conclusion. Well, that's the first part of the argument. And the second part should be what?
Other people, يعني. And other universities, educations.
Now, when you say university education should be free, there is something lacking. So there is something missing. What is it?
I didn't get what you asked.
Oh, we're talking about arguments. I said that the argument should have two things. Now, this is number one, which is the claim or the conclusion. Okay, so
Okay.
this person said, well, university education should be free. There is something missing here. What is it? To become an argument.
For people, for students.
Other people. Okay. Now here we said the argument should have two things. Argument. So number one, so we have the claim or the conclusion, and this is the claim. The same thing here. People should have to stay at school until the age of 18. Now that's a claim or conclusion. Okay. But there is something missing here. So which is the premises. We have already talked about this. Did we talk about it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So claim or conclusion, that's number one. So it's only an opinion now, okay? So it's only an opinion. And there must be some premises to support this claim, okay? So here we have number two premises. Oh, they are the reasons. Okay, now together with, claims together with premises, so they make up what you call an argument. Okay, now these are not arguments. So this is a simple opinion, and there is no premises to back it up. So this is the problem. Okay. Maybe later on they will go about giving some premises to validate their argument. Okay. Now number two, people should have to stay at school until the age of 18. That's another claim or another conclusion. Okay, number three, who would like to read it? يلا بسرعة شوي. ثامر. Who is ثامر?
ثامر أخوي.
Your brother?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Did he get married?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay, so I was very surprised last time when you talked about him, and you told me that while he is going to ask for the hands of someone.
Yes.
Yeah, but I never asked. Okay, congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, C.
Newspaper are old-fashioned and several no purpose in today's world of electronic media.
Okay, what do you call this? Now, newspapers are old-fashioned and serve no purpose in today's world of electronic media. What do you call this? Is it an argument or a claim?
Claim.
Claim. Great. Okay, D. Hassan, yell.
All members of society should have the right to free healthcare.
Okay, now that's another claim. All members of a society should have the right to free health care. Okay, E.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, it's okay, no problem. Any one of you. Go ahead.
Our nuclear power station provide a clean and efficient source of energy compared with burning coal or oil.
Okay, great. Okay, now there's one mistake here in pronunciation. So nuclear power stations provide a clean and efficient source of energy. Now the stress is on the first syllable. This one, we say energy, not energy. Okay, energy. Well, this is stress syllable, and this minus stress is here, energy. Now there are three syllables in this word. So we have a, and this is the stressed word. So energy. Okay, so compared with burning coal or oil. And the last one,
أستاذ تقدر تشرح بالعربي؟
what's your name?
تامر.
Samar. I will explain in English and your sister will explain to you later on.
إن شاء الله.
Look, you are the one who read the sentence. You are the E. Are you the person who read the sentence?
No.
لا.
Who read this?
Abdurrahman.
Oh, Abdurrahman. MashaAllah عليك Abdurrahman. I thought it was Thamar. Okay, great. Thamar, if you don't understand something in English, so it's okay, no problem. I will try to explain this in Arabic. Is it okay?
تمام أستاذ.
يكون الواحد متابع معه مش وجهي فورا يقول له لا تعال اكتب essay، لا بعلمه اول شيء الجمله، تركيب الجمله، شلون لازم يصف الكلمات جنب بعضها، مش صف كلمات، يعني عرفتي؟
What are you talking about? Who is this?
Rama.
Yeah, who is she talking to?
ايوه بالبدايه، وحتى هو استاذ نصر بيصحح الامسات، يعني بيصحح فبيعرف الاساتذه، الاستاذ هناك مثلا على شو بركز، على شو بيعطي العلامه، على شو بنقص، كل
أستاذ
هالامور
يمكن
هي هو
هي مو
بنبهكم عليها.
ما
حتى
مستوعبة إنها
استاذ
داخل السجن.
توفيق بيعطي الريدنج، بعلمكم مثلا شلون بدل ما تضلي ساعه واحده عم بيقرا الريدنج ويضيع، لا
Rama,
بقول لكم انت اعمل هيك هيك هيك، وفي كلمات
Rama,
ممكن عادي جدا انت
Rama,
سوي هدول
Rama.
ما
مش
بتحسب
معانا
الجمل.
راما.
Yeah, this is why. I think I will mute her. دي البداية هذه شو.
لا
because she's talking about something, okay, so which is totally different from this topic. Okay. 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 Thamar, are you still there, Thamar?
نعم أستاذ.
Yeah, okay. So if you don't understand something, so I will explain it to you. Is it okay?
أنا ما أسمعك.
أوكي شكرا أستاذ.
Okay. Okay. I said your reading is fine. Oh, Abdurrahman was reading. Sorry, it was not you. Okay, Thamar, could you read F?
It makes good sense for private companies to find the building of highways and then charge a fee for motorists to use them.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Now, if you read one sentence, so every day, you will see that you have improved within 1 month, you will have improved significantly. Okay. Now, it makes good sense for private companies to fund. Okay, this to invest in something. Okay, to fund what? The building of highways, and then charge a fee. Our fee is a certain amount of money for motorists. Now, motorists are people, road users. Now they use cars. These are called motorists, to use them. Okay. Now these are 5, and these are topics, and they are debatable, or we call them contentious topics. Okay. So because here we can have two sides of the coin. So some people may agree with this, some people may disagree, but for these claims to be an argument, okay, so you have to add some premises, okay? Now, let's look at number one. Now, this is an example. So here we have two sides of the view. We have four. This is about number one, guys, okay? About university education should be free. Now, one of the premises you can come up with is the following. Everyone has the right to a good education, not just wealthy people. Now, this means if you're good, but you cannot fund your education, so you won't have a chance, or you won't stand a chance to go to university. Now, this is one of the reasons why it should be free. The second reason is the state, which is the government, has a duty, wajib, to provide or to give free university education by giving funding for fees. Now, it is the duty of the government, okay, to provide you with money, okay, so like a scholarship or something like this, so that you can complete your higher education. And the third one is well-educated citizens make good citizens. Well, this is the result. Now, if you receive higher education, so it means that you will be a good citizen. Now, these are three reasons. And this is what you need to do when you are writing your essay. So if you have a debatable topic like this one, university education should be free, well, you need to take a stand. You can agree with this, or you may want to disagree with it. And you need to come up with these reasons. Now, if universities are free, too many students are encouraged to go when other forms of training might suit for them. So this means that while people, even if you are students, even if they are not good, okay, they may want to join university, which is not good. Okay, so if they take, for example, a job or any other form of trade is better for them. Number two, free education benefits. It is advantageous only to wealthy students, benefits wealthy students, while ordinary people end up subsidizing. It means that funding them through their taxes. Now, because they pay taxes, so normally, this is why here they said benefits wealthy students. As long as you're paying taxes, so normally you should go to university. And if you pay for something, you value it more highly, of course. Now, if you take a course and you pay for this course, you will value this and you will try to benefit. But if the course is, almost for free, you won't care about it. Okay, so normally we care about the things that we pay for. Otherwise, easy come, easy go. Okay. Now, what are we going to do? Because today's lesson focus is on the main ideas. So we are going to adopt what we call top-down listening strategies. So we're going to focus on the idea. Now, here we have 5 topics. So number 1 has been done for you. So conversation number 1, it is about the cost of university education. Well, this is the topic, and this is very general, not specific. This is what you need to focus on, guys. And I'd like you to come up with the number and type of speakers. For example, here we have 2, we have 1 man, and we have 1 woman. Now, this is very important when you are listening to IELTS conversations. You need to identify the number of people. You need to identify the main idea so that you can understand what the conversation is about. But they will never give you questions like how many speakers are involved in the conversation and the type of the speakers. No, they will never do this. Now, this is for you to understand how you can approach such listening activities. Okay, so number 1 has been done for you. We will listen to it together. So let me share the sound first. Okay. And this is a track 20. Okay. Let's have a listen.
Track 20. 1. Would you mind answering a few questions for a survey I'm doing?
Not at all.
How do you feel about the funding for university education? Do you think it should be free, or should people have to pay?
So how do you feel about the funding for university education? Well, that's the main question. This is the main idea, and she is going to give her opinion. So whether she is for or against, and of course, she has to support her claim with some evidence, so that the claim and the evidence together, they make up what you call the argument. Now they are arguing. This is the art of argumentation. Okay, listen to the girl.
Well, in the past, I used to believe that university education was a basic right and should be free, but...
But you don't now?
Well, it's hard to say. I definitely believe everyone should have access to free secondary schooling, but I'm not so sure about university. People sometimes don't value things when they're free.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, one of the reasons she came up with is that people sometimes do not value things which are free. Okay, so this is what you need to understand. So here we're not looking for the details, so we're simply looking for the topic of the conversation. So number one, as I told you, has been done for you, so we're going to proceed with number two. I'd like you to come up with the topic and with the number of speakers. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, good.
2. As a medical student, how do you feel about the idea of private healthcare?
I'm really against it. I think it's everybody's basic right to receive free medical treatment.
Yes, but look at the mess the National Health Service is in here. The hospitals are overcrowded, the young doctors are doing 16-hour shifts. It's exploitation.
Yes, but at least we have a health service.
Well, I think basic treatment should be available in public hospitals, but if people have the money, they should also be able to have private treatment.
But then you have a dual system, one for the rich and one for the poor.
Okay, now what is the topic of this conversation? The topic, what are they talking about?
Healthcare system.
Yes,
Healthcare.
okay, yes. So it is about private healthcare. Okay, cool. And how many people are involved in this conversation?
2.
2, good. And the type of these people?
Student.
Boy and girl.
Yeah, okay, medical student. Now this is the girl or the
I
woman.
think it's 2 students, woman
Yes,
and boy.
Woman and man. Okay, cool. Okay, number 3. This shouldn't be difficult, guys. Okay.
3.
So, Joe, how are you going with your assignment on alternative energy sources since our discussion last week?
Well, one thing is certain, the nuclear debate is back. We've seen how much pollution oil and coal-fired power stations generate, and the consequences of global warming are now really clear. So we have to find an alternative.
But it doesn't have to be nuclear, surely. What about wind or solar energy? And
Yes, we know about all that, but it isn't sustainable. It's not going to keep a city of 12 million people going through the winter, whereas nuclear energy could.
4.
Okay, now what are they talking about?
New sources for energy.
لا global warming.
Global
Global warming.
أنا
Are they talking about global warming?
yes.
No, alternative
عن الطاقة الطاقة
Yes.
البديلة.
sources of energy. Okay, yes. So like solar energy, wind energy. Okay, energy. And how many people are involved in this conversation?
3.
3. Okay, so who are they or what are they?
1 woman, 2 men.
Yeah, good. So we have 3. Okay, I'll do this.
3 person.
Yeah, so 3 people or 3 persons. Now here we have 2
Men,
men and
1 woman.
1 woman. Oh, this is not and. Okay, and 1 woman. Okay, cool. Now, number 4.
Do you think it's a good policy to encourage young people to stay on at school after the age of 16?
I don't believe in forcing teenagers to stay on at school if they really aren't enjoying it.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. They're not really old enough to know what's good for them, are they?
Yes, but school can be very boring. I think a lot of kids are better off leaving school at 16 and learning a trade, you know, something like hairdressing or building or carpentry. There's a desperate shortage of these people, you know.
Maybe. But I really regret leaving school early, just because I wasn't encouraged to stay on.
Okay. Now, what is the topic of this conversation?
Leave school early. Stay in the school.
Yeah,
staying
at
policy
school.
of
Yeah, what do you call this? If you have to stay at school until you are 16 and then you are allowed to leave or to drop. This is compulsory?
ما أعرف
Compulsory education. Okay?
شو يعني بالعربي؟
Compulsory education, it means التعليم الإجباري.
Hey.
Yeah. So, for example, if you are under 15, you can never leave school. Okay?
Yes.
And you as a parent have to make sure that your child stays at school until until they are 16. Now, this is what they're talking about. And how many people are involved in this conversation?
2.
2 or 3?
I think 2.
No, 3.
3. Yeah. So there is 1 man and the 2 women. Okay. Okay, number 5 now.
5. I've been looking at the pros and cons of public versus private funding for highways as part of my economics assignment. And private funding is really the way to go.
Well, it may get the roads and tunnels built, but then we, the motorists, have to pay a fortune to use the roads. I mean, look at the cost of the city tunnel here.
But that's okay. If you use the road, you should pay for it. They've been building toll roads like this for years in places like France and Italy and America.
Yes, I know, but I still think the state should fund this kind of thing.
Well, if you don't pay when you use it, you'll have to pay higher taxes. Either way, you're going to pay.
She's got a point, you know.
Okay. Okay. Now they're talking about what?
Private funding for motorway.
Very good. So private versus
Funding.
versus public funding for what?
For
Highway.
highway.
Okay. Now طرق سريعة. So private versus public, or public versus private funding for highways. And how many people are involved here?
2.
3.
2.
Now there is the man who said she's got a point. Okay, now this is the third person. Okay. We have 2 men and 1 woman. Okay. Now the last conversation.
6.
Okay, Marion, how did you go with your newspaper survey? Are people still buying papers, or are they a thing of the past?
Well, our survey has basically shown that older people still buy papers, but that most young people don't.
Can you tell us a little more?
Yes. Well, 80% of the people under 25 that I interviewed said they didn't buy a paper, but read the news on the internet.
That's interesting. And what did you discover, Rosa?
Well, my group of over 25s nearly all bought a newspaper each day.
Okay. Now what is this about?
Newspaper survey or a service?
Yeah, okay. So review on
Survey.
what?
The
The
population. Popularity.
Yeah, okay. So the popularity of what?
Newspaper.
Yes, of newspapers. Now, are they still popular or they are considered something of the past? Well, that's what they discussed. And how many people are involved in this conversation?
2
2 or 3?
نفس الصوت إذا 3.
No, we have 1 man and we have 2 students. So 2 female students, okay? And 2 female, because there is Rose and there is another one. So female students, okay? But as I said before, guys, now this is not important. Now, when you are listening, you should pay attention, okay? So to the number of people and who is arguing for something and the person who is arguing against something, well, that's what you need to do. Okay. Now, all these questions, so they were about, you know, the main idea. And this is why here we applied the top-down listening strategies, okay, just to get the main idea. So our focus strategies, okay. So our focus was mainly on the main idea. And because the human brain cannot do 2 things at the same time, okay, so here we have some questions. I don't see whether you can answer them or not. Well, these questions, are they about the details or the main idea? Look at them. So according to the woman, what type of education should be free? Who is working? Now we're looking for people here. And what form of energy does the woman recommend? Name 2 trades mentioned by the man. Name 2 countries. Now, are these questions about the details or about the main idea?
Yes, detail.
Main idea.
Wallah. Yani what type of education? Well, this is not the main idea because she mentioned 2. And
Details.
who, yeah, these are about the details. So normally when you are listening to the details, you should make use of what we call, this is the opposite, bottom up listening strategies, not bottom up listening strategies. Okay. Now, what does this mean? So we employed this one, which is the top-down listening strategies, to come up with answers to this question. Now, here we have another question. Well, this question is about the main idea. Okay, now this one is not about the main idea, it's about the details. And here we employed only one strategy, which is this one, the top-down. But here, in order to answer these questions, you have to employ what you call the bottom-up listening strategies. So you will see that you cannot answer these questions. You cannot. And if you answer them, you are someone with supernatural abilities, and you should not belong to this class. You should look for another class. No, bottom. Now let's see if you can answer them. Now, question number 1. According to the woman, what type of education should be free? You see, you cannot answer.
Private.
Private. No, she said secondary education. Now, if you listen again to the conversation, you will answer them simply because
secondary.
Yeah. So secondary education. So if you listen up to the conversation, you can answer this question. Why? Because here you will be, you know that the question is about the details, and you will be using this strategy, which is the bottom-up listening strategies. You need to focus on the detail. Now, this one here, you have to focus on the main idea. So this is why, because you are focusing on the main idea, you can never answer these questions. And as I said before, if you answer them, you really have some supernatural abilities. Number 2, according to the man, who is working too hard in the National Health Service?
ذكرت تساميهم.
Okay, but who?
I can't remember.
You cannot remember simply because you are not focusing on these strategies. You didn't make use of these strategies. Okay, so he said
doctors.
Young doctors. Very good. Okay, so you remember, but it is young doctors. And what form of energy does the woman recommend?
Sustainable energy.
Oh, she recommended nuclear energy. Okay, and name 2 trades, 2 jobs mentioned by the man. 2 jobs. He mentioned 3. He mentioned building, carpentry, and another one, I think, hairdressing, something like this. Yeah. Okay, and name 2 countries where you pay to use the roads. So I think the speaker mentioned 3 of them. Do you remember them?
No.
No, I told you guys. So because here your focus was not on the details, it was on the main idea. So it is unlikely that you answer them. Now this is why when you are doing your test, your listening test, so before you listen, they will give you some time. They will tell you have some time to read the questions 1 to 6. And the first question that you need to ask yourself is whether these questions are about the details or about the main ideas. Now, if they are about the details, you need to adopt this approach, which is the bottom-up listening strategies. And if the question is about the main ideas, you need to employ the top-down listening strategies. Now, this way you can answer the question. Okay, now there's no need to answer these questions. So simply because I wanted to prove something that when you are listening, so there are 2 strategies, okay? And before you decide on which one you should adopt, so you have to read the questions and decide whether they are about the main ideas or the details. Now, as long as they are about the details, you have to employ the bottom-up listening strategies. Okay, we're going to do this now. What pleased the tutor about Jamie's composition? Now, this is a question. Is it about the details or about the main ideas? Now, there's something that
details.
Yeah, this is about the details. Okay, the second one, how will the tutor make sure that the students work on relevant topics?
Also details.
Yeah, so these 2 questions are about the details. So here, normally, I should employ what you call the bottom-up listening strategies. Okay, so starting from the bottom. That's what I need to do, because here I'm looking for pieces of information. So I need to read the question or the statement carefully, and I need to understand, to highlight the keywords. Now here we're looking for something that means pleased, maybe I liked, maybe I was pleased by. The tutor is, do you know any other word? Teacher, yes. And Jamie's composition, now what does composition mean? Composition simply means writing, okay? So maybe he wrote a report, maybe he wrote a research paper, maybe, I don't know what exactly, but composition means writing. Now, this is the first question. As I told you before, you need to go through the elimination process, okay? You eliminate or you rule out the definitely wrong answers. Now here we have, it was well researched. Now it means that he spent a lot of time, okay, researching or looking up information, I don't know, maybe in books or on the internet, whatever. And it was neatly presented. Now, the presentation was clear and it included plenty of data, so a lot of data. So there's only one correct answer. And maybe they will talk about all these things. Okay, that's number 1. And number 2, how will the tutor, now this is about the manner, how will the tutor, the teacher, make sure that the students work on relevant topics? And here we have, by asking them to get together to discuss their choices, get together. Now that's number 1, discuss the choices by talking to each. Now he's going to talk to each individual student, and by handing out, by giving them a list of topics to the class. Now these are the 3 things. I'm going to play the recording and I'm not going to stop it. So try to find answers to these 2 questions. Okay, are you ready to listen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Track 21. 1.
Jamie, what did your tutor think about your essay on wildlife conservation?
Oh, I got quite a good grade, but there was a long written comment at the end of it.
Yeah, I got one too. He said I could have spent more time on the background.
Yes, me too. I should have done a bit more reading.
I left out all that stuff about polar bears, which is pretty important, I guess.
He said he liked the fact that I'd used lots of statistics to support my argument.
2.
Okay. Now, what is the answer to question number 1?
C.
What?
C.
C. How did you know?
قال
Yeah, very
إنه
good, excellent. Yeah, he said he liked the fact. Now, he liked the fact, it means that he was pleased. Now, when they say, this is a paraphrase of pleased, so I need to pay attention to what he's going to talk about. Well, he said, I like the fact. Now, the fact that he used a lot
Data.
of statistics. Now, statistics or data, so they are almost the same thing. A lot of is a plenty of. So you can see that the answer has been paraphrased, okay, but not the same words. Well, good. This is C. We're going to mark it. Okay, number 2, I will reread the question. How will the tutor make sure that the students work on relevant topics? And I have already gone through the options and I read them aloud. Okay.
I'd like everyone to prepare a presentation for the tutorial sessions throughout the semester.
Are you going to give us a list of topics, or can we choose our own?
It's up to you to come up with a suitable topic, as long as it's related to the course.
What if we all choose the same topic? Should we get together as a group to discuss this?
No, but I'd like you to make a time to come and discuss it with me personally, so that I can see if you're on the right track.
Wouldn't it be easier to just give us a list of topics?
I think you'll find my suggestion allows you more flexibility.
Okay, what? B, excellent. Ahsanti. Okay, yeah, so I'd like you to make a time to discuss this or your choice with me. So he will be talking to each student individually. Okay,
individually.
Yeah, so this is B. Okay, good. Are we going to skip this one? Okay, but we're going to do this one. Okay, they are the same thing, guys. Okay, the same thing. Okay, and most probably you're going to have this maybe in section number 1, okay, or section number 3. It all depends on the test. Okay, now here we have 4 types of vehicles. We have vehicle 1, vehicle 2, vehicle 3, vehicle 4, and we have a list of problems. I have already told you that, well, these questions, I mean, the numbers are very important. So because here, these will follow the same order of the listening, but these ones, no. Okay, they will be in a jumbled order. Now, what do I need to do? So there is no need to go through all of these, but I will be reading this one now. And I need to understand, because they will come up with the exact paraphrase, but not the exact words. Now, limited color range. What does this mean? Who can explain this to me? If you say limited color range, and we're talking about vehicles, what do you think this means?
color of the vehicle يعني عندهم ليميت معين يستخدمونه.
Limited color range. يعني the car doesn't come in many what?
Many colors.
Yeah, in many colors. Okay. So for example, if you want to buy a Ferrari, okay, it cannot be blue, so it will be red. Okay, so limited color range. Okay, hidden costs. Who can explain this to me? Hidden costs.
السعر مخفي.
Yes, you have to pay, okay, for things that are not already declared. Okay, so the car is for 50,000 dirhams, and when you want to buy it, okay, so they will ask you to pay for the maybe the air conditioner, maybe I don't know, so things like that. Now, hidden costs. Okay, now this is something which is negative, and here we have something negative. And high fuel consumption. The car consumes what?
High fuel.
A lot of petrol.
Oil.
Yeah, so a lot of petrol, high fuel consumption. Now, lack of leg room. What does this mean?
No answer.
No answer.
Not comfortable or
yeah. Yes. So here, is the car spacious? Do you know the word spacious? From space.
Yeah.
What's that? Is the car spacious? Yes or no?
No.
No. The car is cramped. Okay. And this is why. Okay, spacious, sorry guys. So, and this is why, for example, you cannot extend your legs. Room here means a space. So a lack of leg room. So your legs will not feel comfortable because the car is cramped. Okay, now poor road holding.
In highway.
Yeah, it means, for example, if you are driving at a high speed, okay, so the car is not stable. Okay, this is what we call poor road holding. It doesn't hold itself on the road in a good way. And poor visibility. What does this mean?
Problem in the car.
Problem in the car. Or maybe you cannot see properly. You cannot see properly. Now, poor visibility.
Visible.
Okay? Yeah, visibility means things that you can.
رؤية.
Yeah. And the slow acceleration. Slow acceleration.
Slow speed.
Yeah, slow speed. Okay, so it takes a long time for the car, for example, to speed up. Okay, now all of these are positive or
Negative.
negative. Yeah, so they are negative. And this is why here we have the word defects. And I think we have already talked about this in our writing sessions. So any technological innovation. So here they're talking about the car. So they have some pros and they have some cons. Now here we have the cons only. So maybe the speaker, we expect the speaker to talk about something good and then to mention something bad. Now what do we need to do? We need to focus on signposting. It's very important. Okay. And here, most of the signpost words, so they will be about, introducing contrast, like but, like however, like although, something like this. Okay, this will help you follow through the ideas of the writing, the speaker. Sorry. Okay. Okay, we're gonna start. So with number 1. So this is 23.
Track 23.
Jim Talk is editor of the monthly automobile magazine Steering Wheel, and he's here to tell us about a recent study that...
Okay, what we're gonna do, guys. So I'm not going to stop the recording. Okay, so these are vehicles 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'd like you to associate one vehicle defect with each vehicle, only one. So here we have, I think we have seven, yes. And here we have 4 cars. Now this means that I need to discard 3 defects. So try to do it alone. So, and then we will share the answers.
Track 23.
Jim Talk is editor of the monthly automobile magazine Steering Wheel, and he's here to tell us about a recent study they've done.
Hello.
Now, let's start with how you went about your study.
Well, we picked 4 similar cars in 4 different categories and compared a number of features. To ensure objectivity, we refer to them here as vehicles 1, 2, 3 and 4.
Okay, so tell us what you looked at.
Well, we tried to balance the good with the bad. For instance, the first car we tested had quite comfortable seats, was well finished, but the passengers complained that it was cramped, especially in the back seat. It proved very economical on fuel, so good for city driving.
But not the car for tall people, eh? And
okay, now what is the defect? We're going to do number 1 together so that you understand what I'm talking about. What is it?
D.
D. Okay. Now I will show you a very simple way so that you can follow through this conversation and you will never lose your way. Okay. So that's why I decided to stop the recording. Okay, so you said D. Okay. So I will show you a very easy way, guys. So here we will repeat and I will pause.
Features. To ensure objectivity, we refer to them here as vehicles 1, 2, 3 and 4.
okay, so tell us what you looked at.
Well, we tried to balance the good with the bad. For instance, the first car we tested had quite comfortable seats.
So the first car we tested had quite comfortable seat. Now, is this positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Comfortable seats. Well, that's something positive. Okay, number 2.
Was well finished.
It was well finished. Is this positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. ممتاز.
But the passengers
And he said, but the passenger. Now he's going to mention what?
Opposite. Negative.
The opposite, something negative. Now, here's signpost word that will help you guys. Okay, so he started talking about something which is positive, and then he's going to switch to talk about something which is negative. He used or he made use of what you call signposting, which is but. Now, but it introduces what? It introduces the opposite idea. So this is the way you should do on test day when you are sitting for. You have to pay particular attention to signposting. Okay, now this is the only way you can navigate your way through, listening passage. You will understand everything, but you don't have to stay focused at all times. No, your brain will get tired and you will understand nothing. Okay. So once he was talking about, well, that's not important for me. The most important thing for you is that to know that he is talking, or the guy is talking about the positive side of the vehicle. And then when he switches to but, well, I need to pay attention and I need to come up with the exact paraphrase. That's what you need to do, guys. Okay, so this way you will never be lost. Okay, I repeat.
He tested had quite comfortable seats, was well finished. But the passengers complained that it was cramped, especially in the back seat.
So it was cramped, especially in the back seat. Now here we have cramped. Okay, maybe you do not understand the word cramped. No problem. So you carry on listening. So maybe they will give you some more hints.
It proved very economical on fuel. So
well, that's the positive, very economical.
Oh, good for city driving.
But not the car for tall people, eh?
He said, but not the car for tall people. Not the car for tall people. Okay, so, and you said here, lack of leg room. Now, this has to do with, tall people. So it is a cramped in, yeah, so this is why we opted for D. Now, as I told you guys, okay, so this guy is going to talk about, normally when we talk about something, we mention both sides, the positive side and the negative side. And in order to switch from the positive to the negative or vice versa, we need to pay attention to signposting. Now, this is what good speakers do so that they are clear, okay, to the people listening to them. And that's what you need to do when you are sitting for your IELTS exam, I mean the speaking test. So you have to use signposting so that the IELTS examiner can understand what you're talking about, okay? So we listen to number 2 now.
And the next one.
Well, by contrast, when it came to petrol consumption, vehicle 2 proved far from economical, but did have the advantage that you could go from 0 to 100 in only 8.2 seconds. Good on the corners, so good road holding, but definitely not cheap at $85,000.
Okay, now what is the defect with this, with the vehicle number 2, the defect? You didn't get it?
E.
G.
Slow acceleration. Well, that's quite the opposite. Listen again.
Car for tall people, eh? And the next one.
Well, by contrast, when...
Now, he said by contrast. Now, he's going to contrast this vehicle with the other one. Okay, with the first.
When it came to petrol consumption, vehicle 2 proved far from economical.
Now, vehicle 2 proved far from economical. What is an economical car?
الكهربائية.
No, economical, not electric.
ميكانيكية.
الله يعطيني ميكانيك على راسي. economical, اقتصادية.
اقتصادي.
يعني
economy.
Does it consume a lot of petrol?
لا يعني موفرة.
يعني it doesn't consume a lot of petrol. Now this is what he meant.
Into petrol consumption, vehicle 2 proved far from economical.
So it proved far from economical. It is not economical. Okay. Now this is a defect.
But did have the advantage.
He said, but now the opposite. Now this is something good. But did have the advantage of what?
Advantage that you could go from 0 to 100 in only 8.2 seconds.
You could go from not. Now, not is 0 in British English. From not to 100 in, I think, 5 seconds or 0. I don't know. Okay. So the problem with this car is that it consumes a lot of petrol. So what is the correct answer?
C.
C. Yeah, C. High fuel consumption. Okay. Cool.
Good on the corners, so good road holding,
These are the positive things about this car.
but definitely not cheap at 80.
But it is very expensive,
Not cheap.
definitely not cheap, but we don't have here expensive. We don't have something like expensive, okay?
$5,000.
Bet I can guess what car that was.
Okay, now vehicle number 3.
Well, our findings on vehicle 3 were quite interesting. It appeared to be good value for money
Now, good value for money is something positive. So you should not pay attention here.
and so looked attractive, but
Attractive, the same thing, positive.
in fact, we found that many standard features are not included in the price.
So many standard features are not
Cost.
included. Oh, yeah, what is it?
Cost.
Yeah, hidden costs. So many standard features are not included in the price. Not included, it means hidden.
Hidden.
Price, it means cost. Price, cost. Now, this is the way you can find the answer. So it is always paraphrased. And I advised you before, if you remember, okay, to avoid, the same sounds or to avoid the same words. Okay, so most of the time the answer will be paraphrased, and this is why you need to read the questions before attempting to answer them. Here we have hidden costs. Now this is B, and number 1, it was a cramped in the back. Here, lack of legroom.
D.
This is D. And vehicle number
C.
2, so it is a high fuel consumption. Okay, now we are left with vehicle number 4. We listen.
Such as air conditioning and remote locking, so the buyer needs to be aware of this.
Yes, I've noticed that many manufacturers now include a lot of things that you used to have to pay for.
Exactly. By contrast, vehicle 4 had a great many features included in the price, and so is good value for money, but our test drivers found that they were not able to see well through the rear window, especially when reversing. So
they were not
F.
yes, so they were not able to see very well, especially through the rear window. Okay, now this is F. Okay, now this is the way you should do, guys. So because the guy is talking about 2 things, about the advantages and the disadvantages, so signposting in this case is very important, and it will help me navigate my way through the listening easily. Okay, now seeing beyond the surface meaning. This is about the pragmatic meaning. Okay, so we did these activities. Now we're going to do this test. So here you have 2 parts. Here you have, of course, 10 questions. And the first thing I need to do is to read the instructions carefully, complete the summary. Well, here we have a summary. No more than 2 words and or a number. So no more than 2 words for each answer. And then the second part will be about labeling the parts of a robot here. Label the diagram of the robot. Write no more than 3 words. And I told you that you need to pay particular attention to numbers. Now, this is number 4. It's not number 6. And you need to jump to number 5, and then jump to number 6, and then number 7. And here we have short answer questions, and here we have no more than 3 words. No more than 3 words. Okay. Now, the first thing we need to do, they will give you some time, and I think they will split this activity into 2 parts. Now, maybe the first part will be read the questions from...
أبغى كيس
محمد صوتك طالع.
She's not talking to us, I guess. Okay. Now, here I need to read the summary, and then I need to decide on the type of word that I need to use. Now, the robot does the same work as A. What do you think we need here? What do you think we need here? The robot does the same work as a. What do we need?
Noun.
Do we need noun? Okay. And it must be what? So here, the same work as,
car.
the same job as. We need the name of a job. So it does the same work as, it could be whatever. It could be, it does the same work as a scientist, or the same work as a teacher, whatever. So we need the name of a job. Some people think it looks like A. Now this is about how it looks like. So what do you think here we need? A noun, a verb, adjective, what? It looks like a
noun.
Noun. Okay. Now we try to be listening at the schematic level. So you try to use your knowledge of the world here. What do you think it looks like? Looks like what?
Car.
On wheels. They said on wheels. So we cannot say it looks like a car on wheels because cars have wheels. So we should ignore wheels, and it looks like what? This one.
Box. Square.
Maybe it looks like it looks like a box. Maybe. Okay. On wheels. It's quite small, weighing only 16.5 kilograms, and it moves relatively slow with a maximum speed of what do we need?
Number.
And you are really good at numbers. I know you guys. The only thing you are good at, numbers. Only numbers. Okay, so we will write here. We need a number. Okay. Number. Okay. And then we're going to describe these parts. What do you think number 4 is? What is it?
Solar system.
System. Maybe. Solar system. Okay. Number 5 here. What do you call this? I mean the body. This is number 5. Try to name it, guys.
Standard.
Standard. Maybe. Okay. Here we have number 6. We have 2. You see here? So we have 2 things. What do you think they are?
Lights.
Lights. Maybe lights. Okay. And it must be plural because we have 2. Okay. Do not write singular because the arrow comes out from these 2 objects. Okay. And maybe we need something to describe these wheels because here we have a noun. So what do we need here?
Adjective.
Adjective. Okay. Now, could you describe the wheels? Could you give them an adjective?
Round, soft.
Round. Aluminium. Maybe aluminium. Yeah. Maybe. Allahu Alam. Maybe aluminium. Maybe round. Round wheels. But all wheels are round. They cannot be square wheels.
Shiny.
Huh? Shiny. Yes. Okay. Cool. And this one, how long does it take the radio signal to travel from Earth to Mars? Now here we are looking for the radio signal and how much it takes, how long it takes to travel from Earth to Mars. Do you know what Mars is?
Marif.
If you don't know what Mars is in the UAE, we will take your passport.
Marif.
المريخ لانه الامارات مسويه هذا على المريخ حملات المسبار ما ادري شو
مسبار الامل.
Yeah, okay, so you have some ideas about Mars. Now, what stops the scientists from steering or from directing the rover in real time? Now, real time, this is what we're doing now. Okay, so I'm talking to you in real time. You are not listening to me. So this is what we call real time. So maybe it takes only maybe a fraction of a second for my voice to reach you guys. Now, but if you are on Earth and you're talking to someone on Mars, now this will take some time, okay, for the voice to reach, someone on Mars. Okay, so this is the question: what stops scientists from steering the rover in real time? Now, if they are controlling this rover through a remote or whatever. So if if someone on Earth press the button of the remote, so this will take some time to reach, the rover. Now this is what we call here. There is a phenomenon, Zahira, or I don't know. This is what we are looking for. What stops the scientists from steering the rover in real time? They cannot do this in real time. What is it? And what do scientists believe Mars has, which is similar to Earth? This is, very complicated. Now here the question should be, what do Mars and Earth? Yeah, what do Mars and Earth have in common? What do Mars and Earth have in common? What do you think they have in common, Mars and Earth?
Water.
Maybe water. Is there water on Mars?
Maybe, or the gravity.
Or gravity. What is it? Rama, what did you say? ثلج.
التربة يعني
Okay, Zain. Yes, the turba, we talked about this yesterday. We said soil. Okay, turba is soil, yes. So maybe they have the same soil. Okay. Good. Now, of course, this is supposed to be a test, so I'm not going to stop the recording, and you should be able to score at least 7 out of 10. Okay, 7 out of 10. And if you miss something, okay, do not stop. You need to forget about it, carry on. Whenever you miss an answer, do not care about it, because all answers are worth 1 mark only. Okay, so because if you miss, for example, let's say number 1, and the speaker is talking and you are still thinking about the answer of number 1, so it means that you will miss number 2, number 3, and then it will be very difficult for you to catch up. Okay, now what do you need to do? If you miss one answer, قول عليه العوض and carry on. This is what you need to do. Okay, and you have to follow, you know, the keywords. Now here they're talking about the robot, that's the same work, so maybe I will listen to other words, not the same. So this is why you need to predict the same work, how the speaker is going to talk about this idea. These are very important. This is what you need to do, guys. Okay, and some people think it looks like, okay, maybe it is similar to and it is quite small, weighing this, and here with a maximum speed of, okay, how the speaker is going to say this. That's what you need to do. Okay, so I will play the recording. This is section track 26. Okay, I'll focus on this one and then I will scroll it down. Bismillah. 26.
Track 25.
26.
You will hear a politician. Track 26.
Okay, come on in. Hi, Ben. Hello, Mark, Sally. Let's get going, shall we? Because we've got a lot of ground to cover this afternoon. It's Ben's turn to give his tutorial paper today, but remember, we do encourage questions from the rest of you, so do try to join in and ask questions.
Okay.
Now, I believe Ben's going to talk to us today about the exploration of the Red Planet.
That's right. I'm going to be looking at the recent landing by the Americans of a spacecraft on the planet Mars, and in particular focusing on the small rover robot.
Is that the little robot that functions as a geologist?
Yes, that's right. It's called a rover. Like a Land Rover, I suppose, and it can detect the geological composition of the ground it's standing on. So, yes, it's a sort of geologist. It's actually quite amazing.
I heard it described as being like a microwave oven on wheels.
Yeah, well, from an appearance point of view, that's a fair description. I photocopied a picture of it for you so you can keep this for reference and make some notes. And I'll just hand that out now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Wow, you'd actually expect it to look more space-age than this, wouldn't you? Like more sophisticated.
Okay, well, as you can see, it's quite small. It actually only weighs 16.5 kilos.
Right. And what kind of speed is it capable of, Ben?
Well, I suppose that depends on the terrain, but I understand that it has a top speed of 2.4 kilometres, which isn't very fast, really.
And can you tell us how it works? Explain some of these things we can see here.
Well, first of all, on the top, it's fitted with solar panels. It runs on solar energy, of course.
Does that mean it can't work at night?
Yes, indeed it does. I guess it sleeps at night. So you have the solar panels on the top, and underneath this is the part known as the warm box.
What's the purpose of that?
Well, at night, the temperatures on Mars can go below 100 degrees, so the warm box is designed to protect the electronics from the extreme cold. It is also fitted with 2 cameras on the front.
Okay, and what about its wheels?
It's got aluminium wheels, each 13 centimetres in diameter. Each one has its own motor, so it's individually powered, which allows the vehicle to turn on the spot if necessary. And as you know, aluminium is very light.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they steer it?
Good question. It's steered using virtual reality goggles worn by someone back on Earth, believe it or not.
What do you mean exactly?
Well, you see, it takes 11 minutes for a radio signal to travel from command headquarters in California to Mars, and the same amount of time for the answer to come back.
Oh, of course. So there's a time delay.
Yes, exactly. And it's impossible to steer the rover in real time because of this. So they photograph the area around the rover, and the scientists will decide where they want the rover to go.
In other words, they plot a course for the rover.
Exactly.
OK, Ben, that's very interesting. Now, can you tell us anything about the space mission itself? Why Mars?
Well, people have been fascinated by Mars for a long time, and it's generally believed that Mars is the only other planet in the solar system to have lots of water.
Is it possible that people might one day be able to live on Mars?
Well, of course, there's a lot of work to be done yet, but theoretically, I can't see why not.
Thanks, Ben. That was very interesting.
Thanks, Ben. That was very difficult. Okay. Now, how did you find this? Easy, average, or difficult?
وسط.
Easy.
وسط. عصير هو صح؟ وسط. زين. But okay, now the robot does the same work as a
Geolytic.
huh? Okay, tell me how you spell this. You spell the word
Geologist.
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 Geologist. Very good. Okay, now geologist, because you know spelling is very important, and if you have a spelling mistake, you will get Z. Now, does everyone get this, guys? Did you all get it? Geologist.
No.
No. Hassan, you did not get it?
أنا كمان ما حسيت.
I got it.
Because he mentioned the word geologist twice. Okay. Now, and it looks like what?
Microwave.
Wrong.
Microwave.
Wrong.
لا. Microwave.
Yeah, microwave doesn't have a shape. The microwave doesn't have a shape. It must be a microwave what? It's a microwave oven. Microwave oven. Now that's what she said. Because the microwave, it doesn't have a shape. Okay? Also, you cannot see it. Yeah, the microwave oven. She said the microwave oven. Okay, on wheels. Microwave oven on wheels. Now here there is a problem of connected speech, microwave oven on wheels. So maybe you did not pay attention to the word oven. Okay, and it is a quite a small way and only blah, blah, blah.
2.4.
2.4. Okay, great. 2.4 kilometers. That's fine. Okay, second part. Now, what do you call this part here?
Solar panels.
Solar panels. Excellent. Great. Okay. Now this is solar panels. Okay, great. Number 5.
Warm box.
Yeah, warm box. And I think the speaker mentioned warm box twice. And number 6.
2 cameras.
Excellent. So 2, we will write it in digit. Okay,
Number
2 cameras. Yes. Okay. And it must be plural because here, as I said, so here, both of them. And then wheels.
Aluminium wheels.
Yeah. Now, this for aluminium. Aluminium, guys. Now, this is the aluminium. Well, this is the British spelling. Americans, of course, the computer will not accept this. American would say aluminum. Aluminum wheel. So the same thing for platinum and platinum. Both spelling are accepted. So aluminium, well, that's British. Aluminum, well, that's American English. Okay, but both spelling are accepted. No problem. Now, how long does it take the radio signal to travel?
11 minutes.
Excellent.
11 minutes.
11 minutes. And what stops? Now, this is difficult. What
هذا ما
stops?
لقطه.
I know the speaker did not talk about this. It was the woman or the girl. Now, this is what they call time delay. There is, so she said, so there is a time delay. Okay, the time delay. Okay, now this is why they cannot steer the rover in real time because of this factor of phenomenon. And what do scientists believe Mars has, which is similar to Earth? Lots of what? Lots of water. Now, if you wrote water, that's fine, no problem. There is no need for this determiner, no need for it. Okay, this is why they said no more than 3 words. So you can see that this answer is given in 3 words. They said lots of water, but if you mentioned water, it's fine. Okay, now I'd like you to report your scores. Okay, so give 1 mark for each correct answer and tell me how much you got. So geologist, microwave oven, I think nobody has got this one, microwave oven. So 2.4, I think everyone has got this. Solar panels, maybe, but mind your spelling. Warm box, aluminium, so mind the spelling. 2 cameras, and here we have 11 minutes. Do not write 11 minutes because the grammar should be respected. Time delay, water or lots of water. Okay, let me, Rama, how much did you get?
I have wrong 3 wrongs.
Okay, it means that you got 7 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
Now this is good. And ثامر المعرس كم أخذت؟ I think Thaman has left. Okay, عبد الرحمن.
7 out of 10.
باي ممتاز أحسنت. And عبد الرحمن sorry ثامر and Hassan.
2 spelling mistakes.
Very good. 2 spelling mistakes. Okay, and Khawla?
8.
8.
Yes.
You're good, guys. Okay, ممتاز جدا. Okay, great. Now, following signpost words. Now, I think this is the most important lesson in the IELTS listening section. Okay. Now, this is what you call a signpost. Now, it will tell you about the directions. Before the invention of GPS and the invention of the compass. Okay, so we had this. Now, they will tell you about the directions. Now, this is the east and north. Okay, now, when you're listening, of course, you don't have east and north, but you have these signpost words, and they are very important, like the compass. Okay, sailors, now people who navigate the ocean, they use compasses, okay, to learn about their directions. And you as a listener or as a reader, you will not, of course, use a compass, but you can use these signpost words so that you can navigate your way through, the listening or reading passage. They are very important. So here we have although, and I think everybody of you knows the meaning of although. Now, although a great deal has been achieved in the area of cancer research, and this is what you call the dependent clause, okay? And we cannot stop here. We need to complete the sentence by adding an independent clause. Now, these are the independent clauses, 3 of them. Which one do you think fits in this blank? Okay, so read them carefully and tell me which one fits in the blank. Oh my God. Okay, okay, great. This way you can see better. Now look at the first idea here. Although is followed by something positive or negative. Although a great deal, yeah, something positive. Okay, now this is the first thing you should notice. It is followed by something positive. Now, the other clause, it must be negative. Now here, because they said, although a great deal has been achieved in the area of cancer research. Now we need to look, because here, although it introduces opposites or a contrast. Okay, so we need to be looking at the contrast. Now, which one makes a contrast? Which one? Is it A, B, C, or maybe 2 of them, or maybe all of them? Yes? Now, what about number 1? There's a lot we do not understand about cancer. Now, is this a good contrast? Does it make sense? Yes or no? Although a great deal has been achieved in the area of cancer research, there's still a lot we do not understand about cancer. Yeah, so it makes a good contrast, this one, so we will choose it. Yeah, it's okay, no problem. It gives the opposite. And we need to get our governments to allocate more funding. Yes, okay, because here, okay, it is true that we have achieved a great deal in the area of cancer research, but we still need, okay, more funding, okay? Now, this makes up a good contrast. And continued research is still essential, yes, okay, because there are, okay, there are little things that we still don't know about cancer. So all of them make up a good contrast, okay, to the first one. So all of them are correct. Now here we have, here there's only one correct answer. Car manufacturers, now people who produce cars today are working on ways to reduce our dependency on oil. And here we have, for instance, now what do we need?
Example.
Example to do what? To highlight this idea. And it, yeah, it should relate, it should closely relate to this idea. Car manufacturers today are working on ways to reduce our, okay, what are they doing? How are they doing this? Okay, now this is why it should really relate to this idea. Now, which answer do you think is correct? A, B, C. So read them and decide on one only.
B.
B, excellent. Okay, some new cars run on a combination of petrol and electric power. But this one, some people can walk. It has nothing to do with car manufacturers. And there's been no real economic incentive until recently. It has nothing to do with this. Because, for instance, it means that the writer or the speaker is going to give me an example to highlight the idea. Okay, now people can walk, no, but some new cars, okay, it's about cars, can run on a combination. What do you call a car that runs on a combination of petrol and electric power? What do you call these types of cars?
Electronic cars.
والله يعطيك الكترونيك ولا مين؟
لا لا هي
ها؟
مثلا يمكن
What do we call them?
ما بعرف.
High
هيدرونيك.
My
ايوه
God.
هيدرونيك.
no ما قلنا هيدروليك. هيدروليك يعني HYD بس هذه HYB. هاي لسه حرف بس. Hybrid. Now hybrid cars, okay? Just like when you're talking about, you know, lessons, we have online lessons, we have in-person lessons, and we have hybrid education. Now it means part of it is online, the other part is in real time. Now that's what you call hybrid. In Arabic, how do you say this word in Arabic? Hybrid. Hajin, muhajjan. Okay, now there are many hybrid taxis in Abu Dhabi now. Okay, so it means that they work on a combination of oil or petrol and electricity, hybrid. But electric cars, no, they are battery operated cars. They work only on electricity, but not on petrol. Okay, now here, not only is Swahili spoken by people of East Africa, it is also, now you need to understand this, not only what does it signal, not only, but also, what do we use this for? What do we use it for? Not only, but also. Addition, okay? If you want to add something, if you have two pieces of information, you can connect them using not only, but also, okay? Okay, how can we complete the sentence? Is it A, B, or C? Come on, guys.
C.
C, yeah. So here we're talking about Swahili, and we know that Swahili spoken or Swahili's language. Okay, not only is Swahili spoken by the people of East Africa, it is also used as a language of trade in many African countries. Okay, so see, okay, it fits perfectly well here. Okay, good. Here we have signposting or the signpost words. Okay. And we have actually many of them. Now, when you are reading, we call them signposting, or when you are listening. But when you are writing, we call them cohesive devices or transition phrases. Okay. Now, here we have the directions, what they signal. We have some signpost words signal a contrast or opposite, and other signal, okay, an example. If you want to introduce an example, other signal, you give a reason, cause and effect, like because, due to, owing to, okay, for, since, providing extra information, like and, also, besides, and setting out the stages of a talk. Now we're talking about the stages or the steps, okay, like firstly, secondly, after that, next, okay. And then we have other signpost words, they signal an explanation or result, like as a result, consequently, okay. Now, what are you going to do, guys? These are signpost words used within a sentence, داخل الجملة نفسها, within the sentence. And these are signpost words which link two sentences. Okay. What I'd like you to do, I'd like you to read the signpost word and choose a number, choose the appropriate direction. Let's do number one together. Now, if we say although, what does it signal? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? Although. The word although, what does it signal?
Number one.
Okay, good. Now here we have contrast and opposite idea. Here we have an example. Here we have a reason. Here we have extra information, stages of a talk, and here we have explanation or result. Okay. Now, what do you need to do? Read the word, then you give it a number. Now, that represents the direction. Now, here we're going to write number one, although goes with number one. Okay, so I will put number one. Now, I will give you some time. Try to read all the words and try to give them numbers, what they signal exactly. Okay, you have, let's say, 3 minutes. And then we're gonna share the answers. You have 3 minutes to do this. Now it's 3:57. So at 4, we're gonna share the answers. Okay, guys, are you done?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So although it signals a contrast or opposite, even though.
Number one.
Yeah, the same thing. There's no difference between although and even though. They are the same. Despite.
Number one.
The same thing. Okay. Now, what is the difference between although, even though, and despite, or in spite of? I think in spite of is not written here. I will write it. In spite of. Now, there's no difference between them. They all indicate a contrast. Okay. Now, the only difference is that after although, we have to use a clause, which is subject verb. For example, although it was windy, the plane landed safely. So we can say, even though it was windy, the plane landed safely. But despite, we cannot say despite it was windy. That's wrong. Despite should be followed by a noun phrase. Now we say despite the wind, or despite being windy, the plane landed safely. The same thing applies to in spite of the wind, or in spite of being windy, the plane. Okay, they are the same, but you need to pay attention while using them. Okay, so this is number one. Even if what does it signal?
Recent, maybe recent.
No, even if is the same thing as although. There is no difference between them. Now, even if it was windy, the plane landed safely. So it's like although. Also, what does it signal?
Also number four.
Information.
Yeah,
Extra
so this is
information.
extra information number 4. Mumtaz. So
Result.
result.
Reason.
Now this is number 6.
6.
Okay, but
Number one.
Number 1, yeah. So the same thing. Okay, so but is a coordinated conjunction, although is a subordinated conjunction. Now, if you use also although, you will have what you call the dependent clause, and if you use but, now it is independent. Okay, now while number 1, the same thing. Okay, while it was windy, or while the test was easy, many students failed it, or while the test was difficult, many students passed it. Okay, now because
6.
Is it for explanation?
3.
Yeah, no, number 3. Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
3.
As well as.
Example.
Now, as well as is actually
Explaining.
No. This is about extra information.
Extra
number 4.
information, yes.
Yes. Okay. Unlike.
Opposite.
Opposite. So this is number 1. And whereas, the same thing, opposite. Okay. Yes. So when you are writing, guys, so if you want to express a contrast, so you can use although, even though, despite, whereas, unlike, even if. Okay. And these are signpost words which link two sentences. Now, on the one hand, on the other hand, what do we use them for?
Opposite.
Great. Now, these can link two sentences, or when we talked about writing, so they can link paragraphs. If you have two opposite paragraphs, so one about the advantages, the other one is about the disadvantages, we can use them, but never use them within the same sentence. Okay, now this is number 1. This is number 1. In addition.
Extra information.
Yes, extra information. So in addition, besides, as well as.
For example.
Now, number 4, right? Okay, for instance.
Extra information.
Really? For instance.
Example.
Which number is this? Number 2, right?
2.
Okay,
yes.
and then consequently. Consequently is like so, the same thing. Or therefore, thus, hence, consequently. Okay? So, yeah, this is for result. So this is number 6. First of all. First of all, secondly, next, sequence. After that. Yeah, sequence. Now, this is number 5. Sequence. Stages, yeah, the steps. Okay, now
5.
This is number 5. Lastly,
5.
Then
5.
علق على 5. However,
1.
Yeah, but okay. For example,
extra information.
really?
لا شو اسمه له example.
Example. So this is number 2. Yeah, good.
Number 2.
By contrast. We can say by contrast or we can say in contrast. Both are correct. Yes. So when do we use this phrase?
In 6.
Number
1.
Number 1, yes, number 1. Okay. In other words, if you want to provide some, explanation.
Number 1.
Number 1, I said, in other words, to put it simply, or to put it in other words.
5.
No, this is number 6, explanation. If you want to explain, to illustrate, in other words. So that's number 6. Okay. Okay, good. Now this is the last. No, not the last thing. Okay, now here, what I would like you to do, you will hear people talking, and they will mention some signpost words. But what will they do? So they will stop. They will say the signpost word, and they will stop. Now, what I would like you to do, I'd like you to write the signpost word, and to tell me about, for example, what are they going to do next? Okay, well, they are going to indicate the opposite. And number 3, I'd like you to make some prediction. Well, this is the most important thing. You should predict. What do you think the speaker will be talking about next? Okay, prediction. I don't know why it is missing here, but this is the most important part, prediction. Okay. Now you will listen, I repeat. So you type or you write the last signpost word you hear. You tell me while the speaker is going to introduce a contrast, and what is the contrast? What do you think the contrast is? Now this will help you follow the speaker, and you can make some predictions. And later on, when you listen, what will happen? So you will try to either to confirm your prediction. You say, well, I was right, or you will disconfirm them, and then you will adjust your prediction. But in either case, so you will come up with the correct answer. And this is what you call active listening. Now, there is a big difference between someone who just listens and someone who raises questions, who sets predictions. Now, this will help you guys on the day of the exam. In a way, you will always be ahead of the speaker. The speaker will be following you. Now, if you follow this strategy. Now, this is why we're doing this. Okay. Now, this is track number 27. Because here we are training, so you will be listening to the person twice. Okay, and then I will ask you the question. Track 27. Okay.
Track 27. 1.
Governments often make promises that they cannot keep. For instance, this government...
Track 27. 1.
Governments often make promises that they cannot keep. For instance, this government...
Okay, now, what is the last signpost word you heard?
For instance.
Okay, great. Now I will write for instance. And what does this signal?
Government.
No, what does it signal? Is it? No, you know. So here, when we say for instance.
Example.
Yeah, okay, so this is what you should tell me. Now here we need an example. She is going to give an example. She said governments often cannot keep their promises. For instance, this government, and she stopped. Now, what do you need to do? We're going to make some predictions. What do you think she will be talking about?
And government promises.
Yeah, very good. So giving, here, so I will write giving an, okay, I will write an example. Yes. Now, I think that she will mention, okay, a promise that the government didn't keep. Okay, so here I know, you see, I said some, predictions. I know what she will be talking about. Now, this means that I am ahead of her and she is following me and not the opposite. Well, that's what you need to do, guys. So this is why this is very important. Now, I think she's going to mention one promise that the government, okay, didn't keep. Oops. So didn't keep. Now, in this case, as I told you guys, so here you are making use of what you call active listening, okay? And your brain is working. Now, the problem with the students is that they get into the exam room with their brain switched off. This is why they cannot make it. So I think she is going to mention one promise. Okay, we don't know what the promise is. Now, this is what I will realize after I hear the speaker. Okay, number 2, we move on.
2.
This is how to approach writing an essay. First of all, you should read the question very carefully. Then, this is how to approach writing an essay. First of all, you should read the question very carefully. Then,
okay, now, first of all, this is how to approach writing an essay. Now, first of all, you have to read the questions carefully. Then, now this is the word, right? Then. How do you spell then?
THEN.
Okay, great. And what does this signal if you say then?
Then number.
Stages?
Stage 5.
Okay, number 5. Stages of a thought. Okay, now what do you think the second, now what is he going to be talking about? Now, first, you have to listen. He said you have to read the prompt or the question carefully. Then, now he's going to talk about the second, what?
Mathematics.
The second step. Oh, he did not say anything. He did not say anything. He said, the first thing you need is to read the question carefully. Then, well, I know that he's going to mention the second step. So what do you need to do? So maybe you need to brainstorm, okay, to brainstorm some specific ideas, okay, something like that, okay? We don't know what it is about, but I know that this is the second step, okay? Great. Okay, now let's listen to number 3.
3.
It is now extremely expensive to travel by train in many countries. Consequently, it is now extremely expensive to travel by train in many countries. Consequently,
now he's talking about traveling by train, and it is becoming more and more expensive, and consequently, that's what he said.
Consequently.
Yes, consequently. So it means so, simply so. Okay. Now he's going to give you what?
A reason.
Yeah, very good. Okay, now he's going to give me some result. Okay, not reason, result. Okay,
a
so
result.
Yeah, because it is very expensive to travel by train in many countries. Now this is the result. Okay, and maybe he will mention another means of transport. Okay, now people, for example, are taking the bus instead of the train, or maybe, I don't know, any other alternative means of transport. Okay, so he's going to mention other means of transportation. Maybe the metro, maybe, I don't know. So we don't know. So the most important thing is that you know what the speaker is going to talk about. Okay, that's the real issue. Okay, number 4.
4. Idioms are a colourful and fascinating aspect of English, but
5.
On the one hand, it may...
Consequently...
Okay.
4. Idioms are a colourful and fascinating aspect of English, but...
What did she say? What? And what was she talking about?
About colorful.
About idioms.
Idioms colorful.
Yes, so idioms are a colorful and fascinating aspect of language. But now what is she going to do here?
Explain.
Introduce a contrast. Okay, now this is the positive side of idiom. Okay, but the problem is that maybe people will not understand them. Okay, now opposite idea, the opposite
idea.
Yeah, the opposite idea. So she's going to mention the negative side of idioms. So maybe they are difficult to understand. something like this. Because I said when you're dealing with idioms, okay, you should not stick to the literal or to the literal meaning of the phrase, but you should always look at the pragmatic meaning. Yes.
You should put opposite and direction, right? Introduce the contract.
Yes,
and the
contrast or
prediction.
opposite. Contrast or opposite, it is the same thing.
Same.
Okay, now here, yeah, here I mean opposite, the opposite side, okay, of idioms. Now, which are really difficult to understand. Maybe I don't know what she's going to say, but I know that this is the opposite side. Now, this is the positive side. Introduce a contrast. I know, but while she said something good about idioms, and she said but and stop. Well, I know that she's going to mention the opposite side. Maybe they are difficult to understand, or maybe students fail to understand them because they rely on the literal meaning only, but not the pragmatic meaning. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, good. Number 5.
5.
On the one hand, it may be advisable to study hard the night before an exam. On the other hand,
okay, is there a need for you guys to repeat this, or it's clear?
No need.
No need.
On
Okay.
the other hand,
Yeah.
Okay, now here we're gonna mention on the
opposite.
other hand. Excellent. Okay, on the other hand, so this is the opposite. So he said it must be advisable to study hard the night before an exam. On the other hand, while opposite. What do you think he will say? Maybe, for example, on the other hand, okay, you won't do well on the test, okay, so because you are very tired, okay, because if you study hard the night before an exam, okay, maybe the following day you will find yourself very tired, okay, so and you will not think clearly, okay. Now this is the downside, the same thing here. So the opposite side of the coin, which is the opposite idea side of the coin. Okay, and the last one, so number 6. Oops.
6.
Firstly, I'm going to talk about the early life of Mahatma Gandhi. Secondly,
Okay.
First, secondly.
No, the last one is second.
Sequence.
Yes, excellent, very good. Now, firstly, I'm going to talk about the early life of Mahatma Gandhi. This is what she said. Secondly, so maybe here she is going, what did you say?
Sequence.
Sequence, yes. So it is the next step. Okay, now this is the second step or a sequence. Great. So maybe she's talking about his achievements, maybe. So what achievements of this gentleman. Okay. Okay, great. Now this is how you should look at things. Now signposting is very important when you are following, so that will help you predict what the speaker is going to talk about. Now we're going to do this as the last activity, and we're going to focus on signposting. No more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. Now here we have, this is what you call a flow chart. Okay. And this is what you call information transfer exercise. Okay. We have to read here what's in the box. 1940, first McDonald's hamburger restaurant opened. That's the first piece of information. 1948. Now we can hear something like 8 years later. Okay. Reopened as takeaway restaurant with affordable. And what do we need?
Adjective.
Excellent. So here we have and, which is a coordinated conjunction, and it joins words. Now in this case, it must join 2 adjectives because the first one is an adjective and an adjective. Now they should be the same, the same part of speech or the same lexical category. Nafsu. Now affordable, but here the problem is that you will not hear the word affordable in the listening. So what do you think? Another word that means affordable. Another word that means affordable. What do you think you will hear?
Available.
Available. Okay, so affordable means in terms of money, well, it means it's cheap. So not expensive, cheap, not expensive. Well, that's one. So if you hear another word, for example, like cheap or not expensive, you should not go for it because affordable means it's cheap. And we need another adjective that describes food. So affordable food, and there's one more thing. And okay, so we're gonna listen to this firstly, and then we're gonna do number 2. Okay, I know which track is this? 29. 29.
Track 29.
The McDonald brothers opened their first hamburger restaurant in California in 1940, but within 8 years they had closed it down and reopened as a takeaway restaurant. This was a place that offered food that was both cheap and good quality.
Okay, what should we write?
Good quality.
Excellent. Now that was a place that offered food that was both cheap and good quality. You see here, this is what they call extra information, and he used both and, okay? 2 of them. So here we will write good quality. Good, we can use a hyphen, quality. Okay. That's good. Now, idea number 2. Now, you should know one thing, guys. So because here you're supposed to write your answer. Now, what will they do? They will talk about things, okay, that are really not related to this part. So just to give you enough time to record your answers, okay? So do not pay a lot of attention. Let them talk. Don't care about them. You should jump to number 2. Brothers viewed, they were regarded, they were seen as pioneers of what? We need a noun. Now here, pioneer, what does it mean? If you don't understand the word, it's okay. Tell me we don't know. That's it. Pioneer.
I don't know.
Okay, no problem. Now, a pioneer, guys, is someone who comes up with innovative ideas. Now, with an idea that nobody has thought of before. Now, that's what you call a pioneer, ra'id. Now, they were pioneers. Now, here I need to understand that, okay, they will not say pioneer, but they will try to explain this word. So, brothers, the McDonald's, so they were brothers, then they were seen by other people as pioneers. So it means that people who came up with the first idea of what exactly?
And like entrepreneur.
Like entrepreneurs. Now entrepreneurs is, you know, kind of a businessman. Yes, that was an entrepreneur who a businessman, okay? So yani, who has just started up his own business. But no, a pioneer is like someone, I said, so they came with the, you know, the first idea. That's it. Okay, okay, we
They also offered practically no service.
So they also, well, that's extra information because also practically no service. No service.
For example,
now, for example, he's going to give me an example to highlight the idea of no service.
You lined up for your food, paid at the counter, and took it to your own table or car. For this reason,
so because they came up with this idea, which is the self-service. Now, for this reason, well, they are going to give me a result. Okay. Now look.
For this reason, the McDonald brothers were seen as restaurant pioneers.
So they were seen or viewed as restaurant pioneers. Okay, of what exactly?
Because they were the first people to do this, to invent the idea of fast food.
To invent the idea of what?
Fast food.
Fast food.
Very good, excellent. Okay, fast food. Now this is how signposting can help you guys. Okay, now this is a result. Well, they said that is as a result. Okay, they were the first people. Now this means pioneers of what? Of fast food. Great. The number 3 here we have introduced specialization. One cook on burgers, one cook on something else. What do you think it could be? So one cook on burgers and one cook on what? You know, you know McDonald's. You know them, right?
Yes.
So what do they sell? Burgers and what?
ما أدري.
Wallah. You do not get French fries when you go to the restaurant?
يعني الميل.
Yeah, because they said here the idea of specialization. It means one person specializes in maybe cooking burgers and another person specializes in something else. What could it be? Now, this is what you call listening at the schematic level, because you know this, you have some knowledge of the word about this. And you need to make some predictions. I told you, if you do not make predictions, you are a passive learner, but you are not an active learner. Okay, so maybe on French fries, I would say this, but I'm not sure, so I will listen.
But that wasn't the only novel idea they came up with. They also brought in the entirely new concept of specialization, where staff in the kitchen each had their own job. In other words, they had one person cooking the burgers, while another person was doing the milkshakes. And
what is it?
Milkshake.
Yeah, milkshakes, okay? So milkshakes, and it's one word, milkshakes. Okay, one person was doing the burgers and another person was doing the milkshake. And this is the idea of specialization, and they were the first people to come up with this idea.
السيجنتشر تبعهم.
But in 1950, now burger sales reached, what do we need?
Number.
And you are really brilliant at numbers. Okay, good. Now, burger sales reached and we need a number. Okay, we listen.
مبيعات.
One. They liked to advertise their sales success, and so in 1950 they proudly put up a sign outside their restaurant telling the world that they had sold 1 million burgers.
So what should we write here?
1 million burgers.
Do we have to write burgers? Because here we have burger sales.
1 million.
Yes, 1 million. So this is 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and this is 1 million. And if you're not sure of the zero, so you may come up with 1 billion. I don't know. Yes.
Billion or a million?
Million.
Million.
Yes. So if you're not sure of the spelling, so add
right number.
60. Yes. But you know, I don't know, maybe you're not good at math. You will, just like your teacher, you will end up writing 9 zeros. This is the problem. Okay. Now, McDonald Brothers sold the business. So they sold the business. This is one thing. And they sold something else. Okay, we will try to listen.
That doesn't seem so many nowadays, but in those early days it was quite an achievement. Then in 1961 the brothers decided they'd had enough of the hamburger business, and so they sold the company for $2.7 million along with the name.
Okay, so it is the company, it is the business, and he said along with. Now, along with to add extra information. Along with what? You were you did not focus on the signpost words. Okay, I will repeat.
$7 million along with the name.
Yes.
And so they sold the company for 2.7.
Now they sold the company. This is number one. It means they sold the business. Now the business or the company, they are synonyms or words that belong to the same semantic field. Okay, now they sold something else. And you need to pay attention to the signpost word so that you can get the answer.
$7 million along with the name.
So they said along with what?
Name.
The name. Okay, along with name or the name. I told you that articles are not important. So along with, so we use this phrase along with, okay, we use it for extra information or additional information. Now we can say that the teacher, along with the students, okay, for example, is decorating the room. Now be careful here when you use along with, guys. Now this might help you with the grammar when you're doing your MSAT test. Okay, we say, for example, here the teacher, and we have this along with the students, and the subject here, be careful. What's wrong with this? Along, yes. So the subject must be singular. Now the teacher, along with the students, is very busy. We don't say are, never. Is very busy. Okay. Now that's the way it is. Now the teacher, this one, it will never affect the subject because the subject of the sentence is the teacher. The same thing when you say the teacher together with the students. So is, we never say are. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah. And last night there was someone who asked the question, which was, kind of stupid for me. So this is the had sooner. Had sooner equals had better. The same thing. No difference between them. For example, you had better go now, or you had sooner go now. It is the same thing. Had better or had sooner. So it is something we use to express advice. Okay, you had better or you had sooner. It is the same thing. No difference between them. Okay, you'd better go now. You had sooner go now. No difference between them. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. Yalla, do you have any questions?
Thank you so much.
Yalla, Allah يعطيكم العافية إن شاء الله. And see,
الله يقويك.
guys, we're not meeting tomorrow. So now it's every other day. Okay, so we meet one day and the other day off. One day, the other day off. Every other day. Is this clear?
Yes.
Yalla, Allah يعطيكم العافية. Bye bye, guys. Salam.
Assalamu.